Pennsylvania.
Sunny Hostin has never been one to hold back when throwing shade, but this time, she may have picked the wrong target. What began as another one of The View's predictable anti-Trump rants quickly took an unexpected turn when Sunny found herself going head-to-head with Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman. Unlike the usual chorus of agreement from the panel, Fetterman remained calm and methodical, dismantling her accusations with precision. By the end of the exchange, Sunny was visibly flustered, defensive, and ultimately stormed off the set in embarrassment. The tension escalated when Sunny accused Fetterman of being a traitor simply for offering a fair assessment of Donald Trump, expecting him to backpedal, soften his stance, or issue an empty apology, like many politicians do under pressure. She was instead met with firm resistance. Fetterman stood his ground, refusing to be bullied into submission. With his signature no-nonsense approach, he schooled Sunny on politics in a way that left the audience gasping and even some of the co-hosts visibly uncomfortable. Known for his surprising middle ground stance on certain issues, Fetterman was not about to let Sunny twist his words or misrepresent his views. He calmly reminded her that real leadership isn't about blind loyalty to a party or ideology. It's about making decisions based on facts, not emotions. Whether people like Trump or not, he pointed out, the reality is that Trump remains a major political figure, and pretending otherwise is delusional. Fetterman then called out the hypocrisy of so-called political analysts who demonize anyone unwilling to conform to their one-sided rhetoric. Sunny, clearly rattled, tried to interrupt, but Fetterman held firm, refusing to let her control the conversation. By the time the exchange was over, the shift in power at the table was undeniable. Sunny had entered the debate expecting to dominate, but instead she walked away defeated. Fetterman didn't back down. Instead, he doubled down, pointing out that the real reason people are losing trust in mainstream media and political discourse is because of this very kind of divisive, emotionally driven nonsense. He made it clear that he wasn't there to play partisan games. He was there to talk about reality, something The View seemingly has little interest in these days. The atmosphere in the studio had completely shifted. The usual smugness on Sunny's face had vanished. The audience, typically quick to cheer in lockstep with the show's left-leaning rhetoric, was eerily silent. Even Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar, who usually rush to their co-host's defense, seemed hesitant to jump in. It was clear to everyone watching, Sunny had overplayed her hand, and for the first time in a long time, she wasn't the one controlling the narrative. Desperate to regain some sense of authority, she made one last attempt to shift the conversation, accusing Fetterman of normalizing Trump, but by then, the damage was done. Fetterman simply looked at her and said, "You don't have to like someone to be fair about reality. That's called being an adult." The room erupted, not with the usual applause for The View's hosts, but with murmurs, gasps, and even a few scattered claps. Sunny's face turned red. She opened her mouth as if to respond, but instead of fighting back, she did something no one expected. She stood up, grabbed her cue cards, and rushed off the set. The awkward silence that followed was unbearable. The cameras quickly cut to commercial, but it was too late. Within minutes, clips of the exchange were flooding social media, with many calling it one of The View's most humiliating moments ever. Viewers were stunned. Sunny, who built her brand on being outspoken, had been completely shut down by someone she clearly underestimated. Meanwhile, Fetterman walked away looking like the only adult in the room. Unlike most politicians who tiptoe around The View's aggressive questioning, he handled it like a pro, refusing to be bullied into saying something he didn't believe. And people took notice. Social media was flooded with praise for him, with even some of his critics admitting they respected his ability to stand firm. As for Sunny, let's just say this one won't be forgotten anytime soon. For someone who prides herself on being the sharpest person in the room, she sure didn't look it when she fled the set, unable to handle the heat. If she thought she could back Fetterman into a corner and make an example out of him, she got a harsh reality check. Instead of making him look bad, she ended up exposing herself and The View's political discourse for exactly what it is, a one-sided echo chamber that falls apart the second it's challenged with actual logic.
A lot of liberals.
Those are kind of issues, other things that we can agree on as well, but
the aftermath of this explosive moment didn't just impact Sunny Hostin, it sent shockwaves through The View's entire ecosystem. Behind closed doors, producers were in full-blown crisis mode, scrambling to contain the fallout without drawing even more attention to it. They had hoped Sunny's dramatic exit would be a minor moment that could be glossed over, but instead it became the defining clip of the entire episode. Damage control meetings were held almost immediately shortly after filming wrapped, with insiders reporting that Sunny was livid over how things had played out. She allegedly ranted that Fetterman had been disrespectful and condescending for daring to challenge her, but the reality was clear. She had walked straight into the confrontation and then crumbled under the pressure. Meanwhile, viewers weren't buying the excuses. Social media erupted with commentary, calling out The View for what many have suspected all along, a one-sided echo chamber where dissenting opinions aren't just unwelcome but actively silenced. People pointed out the glaring hypocrisy. Sunny had no problem calling Fetterman a traitor on live television, but the moment he responded with a well-reasoned rebuttal, she couldn't handle the heat. If the roles had been reversed, if a conservative guest had walked off mid-debate, The View and its supporters would have mocked them mercilessly. But because it was Sunny who cracked under pressure, her fans scrambled to make excuses. The irony, Fetterman wasn't even being aggressive. He wasn't shouting, interrupting, or making personal attacks. He simply laid out the facts and held his ground. But because The View is so accustomed to having guests who either agree with them or allow themselves to be steamrolled, Sunny clearly didn't know how to handle someone who wouldn't just sit there and take it. This wasn't just an embarrassing moment for her, it was a damning indictment of the entire show's credibility. If its hosts can't engage in a real debate without falling apart, what does that say about the quality of their commentary? But here's where things get even more interesting. This incident may have sparked real behind-the-scenes tension among the co-hosts. While Whoopi Goldberg tried to keep the conversation moving and play the role of neutral moderator, it was obvious she was caught off guard by Sunny's reaction. Insiders claim that Whoopi and Joy Behar were later overheard discussing how bad the moment looked for the show, with one source even suggesting that Joy was frustrated that Sunny had made them all look weak. Apparently, there's an unspoken rule among the co-hosts. If a debate gets heated, you hold your own. You don't storm off and leave your colleagues scrambling to pick up the pieces. Sunny's dramatic exit wasn't just a personal embarrassment, it made the entire panel look like amateurs. And as if things weren't bad enough, ABC executives were reportedly not pleased. According to industry insiders, the network has been growing increasingly frustrated with The View's tendency to spiral into controversy, and this incident only made matters worse. While controversy can sometimes boost ratings, this wasn't the kind they wanted. There's a big difference between a show that sparks lively discussion and a show where one of the hosts literally walks off mid-argument because they can't handle a differing opinion. Sources say executives are now questioning whether Sunny is becoming more of a liability than an asset, and whispers of potential shakeups on the panel are already circulating. Then there's the audience reaction. Let's be real, this moment did not help The View's already declining reputation. For years, critics have accused the show of being little more than a daytime echo chamber, where personal vendettas take priority over meaningful discussion. This incident only confirmed those suspicions. Fetterman's appearance was a rare moment of actual political discourse, and instead of rising to the challenge, Sunny melted down in real time. The best part? Fetterman didn't seem remotely bothered by any of it. In fact, sources say he found the entire situation hilarious. He reportedly told aides that he had no intention of embarrassing Sunny. He was simply responding directly to her accusations and refusing to let her dictate the conversation. That she couldn't handle it, that was on her. And judging by his social media activity afterward, he wasn't exactly losing sleep over it.